One of the easiest ways to tell how much you love a fragrance is by how much you use it and how big your dent is. And when I was using one of my favorite niche fragrances, might I add, the other day, I noticed that the dent has been increasing rapidly, and that gave me a little bit of concern because obviously I spent money on it. But I also was inspired to do a video because let me just tell you, there are a few fragrances in my collection that I hyperfixate on and I love unabashedly. I have over 150 bottles, and one of the easiest ways to tell how much I love a scent is simply by how much I use it. So in this video, I have 5 fragrances that all have swiftly increasing dents, and these are fragrances that I absolutely love and I'm excited to share them with you. But if this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances. I talk about them here every single weekday, Monday through Friday. I also publish content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. Recently I've started posting my outfits on Instagram. One of my passions is fashion. Hey, that rhymes. And one of my favorite ways of expressing that is by dressing up, or I dress up in my day-to-day, but I also really love I've been spotlighting it more on Instagram lately. So if you're interested in that, then check out my Instagram. And TikTok is usually where I test drive concepts. If I have an idea for a particular video I want to film, I will usually put it out on TikTok or YouTube Shorts first to kind of get some feedback about what the video is performing like. So if you want to receive some information quickly and be the first to know about it, then check out my TikTok. But anyway, in addition to that, I have a podcast called The Fragrance Report. It's available on Spotify and here on YouTube. If you're interested in fragrance and beauty history, this is the podcast for you. I come out with a new episode every Wednesday. Also, if you're trying to be a little bit more mindful when it comes to your fragrance consumption, if you're concerned about how much money you're spending on fragrances, or if you simply want to have a better and more effective way to track what's already in your collection, you can download my fragrance collection log and expense tracker in my Stan store. So I wanted to keep it to just 5 fragrances, and I have another video talking about my most used Middle Eastern fragrances, because that video is really telling, as I have so many Middle Eastern fragrances and a very focused amount of them gets used on a regular basis. So if you want to see the Middle Eastern version of this video, check that out. But this is going to focus on designer and niche. So without further ado, let's get started with, quite frankly, the fragrance that inspired this video, and that is A Grove by the Sea by Arquiste. I think I need to get a backup bottle, and I do not like saying that because I try to avoid that. I used to not avoid that, but now as I've increase the size of my collection, I am trying to be more mindful and accepting of the fact that my tastes can change, and sometimes even if I hyperfixate on a scent, that scent is not going to be my favorite 3 years down the line. I mean, it might, but it probably it's kind of like a touch and go, our tastes change, our preferences change, but this is making me want to break that rule a little bit. I have so many rules for myself when it comes to fragrance, but this is, A Grove by the Sea by Arquiste. And if we look at the dent, this is almost halfway, so it's not too bad. So this is an aromatic, woody, fresh, spicy fragrance with top notes of fig leaf, olive, sea salt, fennel, and clementine, a mid of olive, thyme, rosemary, and fig, and then a base of balsam fir, pine needles, cypress, and clay. This perfume really warms up on my skin especially. It has this kind of buttery facet to it, not tonic, more creamy, olive oil. And of course you have the aromatics in here as well. This is a very soothing, spa-like, relaxing perfume, and I think one of the reasons why I love it so much is because of those calming properties. I especially love wearing this when I'm entertaining. If I have people over for dinner, I will usually spray this on because I find that it's non-offensive, it's soothing, and it also corresponds with the other fragrances I have in my home, because I like to have candles and I don't want my fragrance to compete with the home scents that I'm already using. So I tend to be very thoughtful about that. I can do probably a whole other topic on fragrance when entertaining, because one of the things I do, especially if I'm cooking before someone comes over, I typically will take care not to be entertaining in the same clothes I've been cooking in, because fabric traps scent, and I personally I love food. I love strong flavors. I adore that, but I don't necessarily want to be smelling like food when I'm entertaining. I want to wear something like this. So quick tip, if you have a similar preference to me, it might be a good idea to have a different set of clothes when you're entertaining versus when you're preparing for people to come over. So that's just the way I run my life. That's how I do things. That's my preference, but I absolutely love wearing this fragrance because I get compliments on it. It's really pretty much universally appealing based on how I have had experiences with it, and I just really love this scent. So it gets a lot of use and a lot of wear. Next up is Orabella's Salted Muse. This is kind of similar to Arquiste A Grove by the Sea, but this has more of like a salty woodiness to it. A Grove by the Sea is more focused on the aromatics. Salted Muse is in that same family, but a different take on that kind of style of fragrance. So Salted Muse by Orabella has notes of sea salt and pink pepper at the top, a mid of olive tree, lavender, and fig, and then a base of cedar, sandalwood, and amber. This is very easy to wear and love, partially because it is an oil, so you can just like spray this on your skin, and because it's an oil, it'll stay on for a long period of time, but it also won't really have like a super loud projection, which makes it super easy to pair with other fragrances, especially if you're doing things like layering. One of my favorite things has been to wear this perfume when I'm going out at night, so I will usually wear this as my base layer fragrance, and then I'll layer other scents on top, and it helps with the longevity, and it also is like a nice body oil for my skin, which I absolutely love. But yeah, Orabella Salted Muse is an easy perfume to love and hyperfixate on, and because of that, I think I'm over like halfway through this fragrance, so I do regret not getting a larger size, but that's either here or there. But Orabella Salted Muse, definitely a favorite, and I absolutely love like the kind of shell look of this. It reminds me of like a mermaid like trinket, that's what I think about when I get reminded of this. But I love this perfume. Another kind of like designer adjacent fragrance that I adore. I mean, this is designer. This is not a designer adjacent. This is literally a designer fragrance, but this is Pure Poison by Dior. Pure Poison is interesting because it was released in 2004, but I feel like this is still such a modern and relevant fragrance. Not that I limit my fragrance choice on when a fragrance was released, but I feel like this is the kind of scent that could have been released today and it would still be fresh and relevant and appropriate with the trends. That's how timeless I feel like this fragrance is in my mind. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But this is a citrus white floral fragrance with a lovely woody base. Again, if you love sandalwood, this is going to be a fragrance to try. It has jasmine, orange, bergamot, Sicilian mandarin at the top, a mid of gardenia and orange blossom, and then a base of sandalwood, white amber, cedar, and white musk. This is kind of like a clean take on a musk perfume. It's not animalic in the slightest to me. It's like a clean, musky scent with white florals. And it also has a beautiful woody base as well. This perfume gets a lot of use because it is really easy to wear and love, and you can wear this for a variety of occasions. And what I like about this is that I don't really have to worry about it leaving my skin. Like, I don't really have to worry about losing this fragrance throughout the day. It stays on the skin quite effectively, but it doesn't overwhelm people. In fact, it draws people in. I really like it. I feel like people tend to really like this fragrance as well. And as you can see, the dent, I'm like 2/3 down. Yeah, that's not good. I'm 2/3 down. I think I need to get another version of this. This is one of those perfumes I will continue to return to time and time again. If I had to choose like a designer signature fragrance, Pure Poison by Dior would most likely be that fragrance. So this next perfume is so nostalgic to me because it reminds me of the summertime. I love this fragrance. It's by Theodoros, Kalotinis, and it's called Lemon Tart. This is absolutely lovely. And if you're a gourmand lover, congratulations, this is going to be the fragrance for you to try out. So this perfume has notes of lemon zest, lemon, vanilla, whipped cream, butter, sugar, and tartan. And just for the theme of this video, if you look at my dent is denting. This is, again, 2/3 down the bottle. I love this perfume. What's unique about this is that you really get like the crust and like the kind of dough part of the tart. You don't just get like the lemon custard, which is the case when it comes to so many fragrances. You kind of like end up getting like the lemon custard and that's pretty much it, and maybe like the zest and the whipped cream. But this takes all the elements of that tart and combines them into one fragrance, which I love. And I just adore this perfume. For me, it's really easy to wear. I love it. And as you can see, I use this up constantly. And finally, we have one of my favorite springtime floral fruity fragrances of all time. And I will also continue to wear this throughout the year, but I do recommend wearing this in the summertime or in the warm weather, especially in the spring and summer, because this perfume's sillage is truly magical in the warm weather. I'm of course referring to Love at First Sight by Une Nuit Nomade. Love at First Sight is just like my favorite lilac fragrance. To put it quite simply, it's one of the fragrances that really inspired me to fall in love with Ambroxan, because this perfume is kind of simple in its composition. It has lilac, passion fruit, acacia, and Ambroxan. And it's pretty much like an airy, fruity, floral fragrance, but it has a really realistic note of lilac in here that I absolutely love, and the sillage on this is absolutely extraordinary. I love this perfume so much. It's insanely good and it's so unique. I truly have never smelled anything quite like it, and it's absolutely stunning. So I actually bought this bottle myself years ago, and when we look at the dent has increased, especially like in the last 6 months. I used to have it, I think, here, and now it's like gone down even more. But yeah, I bought this bottle by myself with my own money when I was, when I first heard about this fragrance. This was like ages ago, and now I work with a brand on an affiliate partnership basis. So I have a code with Une Nuit Nomade, which is kind of like a pinch me full circle moment. I absolutely love that because this was a brand that I really, really loved before I even was receiving any PR, working with any brands. And it stood out to me as being a brand that was affordably priced when it came to the niche market, and the fragrances were still unique and interesting and beautiful. So this is kind of a very special brand and fragrance to me. Again, Love at First Sight by Une Nuit Nomade. But yeah, those are all the fragrances I have to share with you. 5 excellent fragrances that have definitely been shown some love, because I absolutely adore these fragrances to the point that I am using them up like water. I mean, this is scented water, but thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.